Every show is a brand new show. You're never going to see the same show again. People are like, oh, I don't know about that. But people are curious. And it's kind of like once you get them in the door, most of the time you got them sold.
I'm going to make more noise than that. Are you ready for boys? All right.
All right, let's shake this out, people.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1.
All right, let's do this. What are we going to say tonight? Opa.
Opa.
Yes, Opa. Get on the mic, say 10 minutes till showtime. Got it. 10 minutes till showtime.
Yeah.
I don't know. What is the norm anyway?
You know, in American society, we're really reliant on the two-sex system. Some of the research has shown that one of the first things people notice about people when they meet them is their sex. And so masculinity is this thing that we assume men present of being strong and tough and powerful. Femininity is something we usually attribute more to women, and we say that they're, kind, compassionate, soft. When we start to divide culture up into these two different things and attribute these characteristics to men and women and assume that they're biologically driven, it gives a whole lot of significance to these characteristics.
We're gender performers. That's what we are.
These kinds of shows force people to think about the ways that gender is socially constructed. They also force people to think about the ways that sexuality is socially constructed. If we're the typical viewer and we walk in and we think that, our biological differences between men and women and that most men are attracted to women and most women are attracted to men and this is just the way that the world is organized, and then you come into the scene where these people may have been born a man but are performing femininity, or may have been born a woman but performing masculinity, and then they show some sort of sexual activity or attraction to someone that you wouldn't expect. It kind of just blurs all of that stuff and says, look at the ways that all of these things are socially constructed.
I think that's what's so great about our group. We're there to push the envelope. We're there to push each other so that we understand maybe what other people feel.
I think there's a long history of the gay community rallying behind drag queen shows, and it becomes part of the culture of LGBTQ communities. And I think drag kings are starting to become part of that, but I don't think they've made it quite as big as the queens have yet.
Actually, it's really kind of hard being a male because I'm so feminine. Like, I'm used to that. I'm used to crossing my legs, or I'm used to, standing with my hip out, my hand on my hip, or, so I have to actually kind of stop doing those kind of things. Because I'm definitely all woman. I don't feel like I'm in the wrong body.
I think obviously it's hard for people anytime their identity or their self-expression doesn't match what they expect people to expect out of them. I think sex is especially hard because we give it so much significance.
I mean, it's the old saying of don't judge a book by its cover. I must have been 4 years old. I knew at a really young age. I mean, I knew I was in the wrong body. It was frustrating because you're so little. How do you communicate that at all? I have no clue how to communicate that. I can recall being like, how come I don't look like Uncle Robert? And I think I can vaguely hear, well, that's because you're a girl. And I knew when I moved here I was going to transition. I started on the testosterone on a very low dose. Physically, mentally, everything is changing. So you're kind of shocking your system totally.
A lot of people probably peg me for gay, which, I kind of am, but I'm not a man that likes men, not by definition. I had several reasons for not transitioning, and one of them was because I didn't want to step into that role of being, typical, of being many things that I've not really admired about the male population, especially having lived as female for 24, almost 25 years. There was a point where I got really, really like, depressed. It was like hitting a wall. It's like, oh my gosh, because, you know, like, so many aspects of your life changes. How you identify, how you interact with the world, how your friends interact with you, you know. And I just remember thinking that I didn't want to lose all of the parts of me that I've grown to love and appreciate, you know. So I don't ever want to just blend in with every other guy. I like being a trans guy. I think that I learned to appreciate the body that I have, even though it's not necessarily what I would have wanted had I had the choice to choose that. But in having experienced this, I realize now more of the sameness of the different sexes. Like, we're so much the same, you know, and there's so much of us that we identify as being ourselves, but it's really not. It's more just experience and hormones, you know, which is kind of disturbing in many facts, but it's also very, like, liberating, too. And then there's just, you know, there's the realization that who you are really is defined by you, not other people.
I mean, it's kind of like I fit the mold of both, you know. I mean, I'm never going to be completely male. It's not possible at this point. Even then, say that does happen, I still also know where I came from. We get to do some sort of form of education, you know, through entertainment, versus, you know, standing in the corner with picket signs saying, you accept me for who I am. You know, that's not going to get you anywhere. That just doesn't do it.
I think a lot of the general public just feels really confused about why anyone would want to change their gender or their sex. Because we all feel like, or most of us feel like, gender really is some essential part of us. That being a man or a woman is what makes us us. We really feel like this is who we are and this is essential to who we are. Then when we look at people that feel otherwise, I think we don't have any way to make sense of that. And I think instead of saying, wow, this is an experience that's different from mine, a lot of people say, wow, these people are weird.
Why, at this point, I think in my life, why do I even need to care how anybody feels or thinks? Because you know what? Nobody has ever thought about how I have felt. I get up every morning, I go to work, I do whatever I need to do, I pay fucking taxes, you know? I mean, I'm just like anybody else. You're a body, you're a human being. I don't look at what might be between your legs. I look at what's inside your mind, what's inside your heart, what's your spirit. You know, that's what I care about.
Love you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great night.